Hey, how's it going? It's time for another vlog. We finally made it. You guys might be wondering why the hell I'm posting so late. Well, life happens. Plus, I really wanted to put some thought into this one because this is going to be my first trick tip video. We're going to call it Cameron King How to Ollie Masterclass 2020. So the goal being, I'm going to take 20 years of skateboarding knowledge on how to Ollie from various sources, try to tell you exactly what you need to do to Ollie, or Ollie better. So my main critique after watching as many trick tip Ollie videos as I could this morning to get ready for this is that no one really explains why we have to do anything. So I'm thinking maybe that'll help if I get into a bit of the why with the what. As soon as I find a nice shady plot to practice, like that. All right, some basic prerequisites. Before you start messing with your Ollies here, make sure you learn how to roll around. I made the mistake of more or less learning how to Ollie first, and then learning how to roll just to get to Ollie. And I missed out on a whole lot of fun. Just rolling around is super fun, first off. But other than that, it really helps you in your ability to actually stay in control, because you learn how to control your weight and your momentum and your body positioning on the board. Part 2 to that. Make sure you know how to fall. I'll give you a quick rundown. Whenever I try to, or have to fall, I always try to get as low to the ground as I can first, fall on my butt, not my tailbone, and then try to roll. That's the win. That way you can avoid hitting your wrists and your elbows. Also, when I'm falling, I try to keep my elbows and wrists in. Inevitably, you will try to reach out. Just try not to take your weight on it. Let your elbow go in and save yourself the pain. So it's time for the short form, how to Ollie. You've probably seen this quoted in a bunch of different Ollie videos. First time I heard it quoted was Starting Points with Jamie Ray.
The Ollie. The first step of the Ollie is to get your feet into the right position. Put your front foot across the middle of your board. Put the ball of your back foot in the center of your tail. The next thing you want to do is bend your knees. The more you bend, the higher you can go. As you straighten your legs and start your jump, a few things must happen. Fully extend your back leg, pushing your tail to the ground. Roll your front foot until the side of your shoe is touching the grip tape. Lift your front leg up, dragging your shoe up the board toward the nose. Push your front foot forward and pull your back leg up towards your chest. Now that you've leveled out, let your legs straighten out a little bit as gravity brings you back down. When you feel your wheels hit the ground, let your knees bend again to soften the landing. This last step really comes in handy when you're landing off a big gap or a large set of stairs.
So let's try to talk about what's actually going on now, because there's a lot of stuff at play here. Starting with center of gravity. For most people, it's right about here or right about here, kind of depending on how you're built. And the easiest way to have better balance is to have a lower center of gravity. Other than that, having a wider stance will give you a better balance. So if you aren't feeling stable, try bending your knees more. Okay, so let's break down that Ollie some more. To get comfy with snapping the tail, there's a few things you can do. One of them, picking up your board just like this. You get used to the feeling of the board snapping, even though your foot stays on the ground. More in depth, you want to snap it on the ground as hard as you can. And to get it snapping as hard as you can, you want to jump as hard and as high as you can. What exactly am I talking about? Well, let's talk about jumping for a second, which is going to sound kind of funny. But when you jump, how do you get the most height? You compress as much as you can. You jump off your toes, not your heels, so make sure you're on your toes. And then you extend upwards as hard as you can. Bonus tip, throw your arms in the air as you're doing it, because that'll actually help you pull your body weight up, which allows you to pull your knees up to your chest. And then all of a sudden, you're ollieing over a car. And boom, just like that, and video over. Okay, I'm just kidding. I wish it was that simple. So this may sound kind of funny, but I want you to practice your jump. Take a few minutes, leave the board right there. Imagine you're ollieing as high as you can by jumping as high as you can. Here's my best two-footed jump I could get. Not bad. Okay, there's going to be a slight difference when you're ollieing, as you may guess, because you're not ollieing off both feet, you're ollieing off one. So once you've figured out your mechanics of your jump, you want to do the same thing, but off of your dominant foot for popping. For me, it's my back foot, my right foot. So you're literally doing the same maneuver, but just jumping off of one foot and doing the same thing. Set up for your ollie, balance over both, you're crouching balanced, you crouch into the back, you see how the front doesn't lift up? But if I lift up a little bit, that's how close I am to being unweighted. You know what, just to get used to it before you get that far, try to do a couple of those, just so you can feel the weight transfer between both, because you're gonna have to get used to it. Ideally, you want it to be so light that you can almost jump off both feet, but that quick transfer at the end is how you get it up. Try to watch the timing I use. I put a bunch of these ollies in a row so you can. I get ready, I crouch, I throw my weight up in the air, and as I'm throwing my weight in the air, that's when I'm unweighting the front, as we talked about. Now, just as soon as I finish unweighting the front, you can see my ankle snap as hard as I can to get the board in the air with me as I'm jumping. You can see my front foot immediately goes up the board and onto the nose and starts pulling upward in sequence or coordination with the back foot as I'm jumping. It's pretty much happening at the same time. If you watch the angle of my board as I'm going up, you can see how much is needed for my front foot to catch on the nose and continue to pull. In this clip, the angle is about 45 degrees. If you get closer to 90, it makes it easier for you to use your front foot to pull the board up using the nose grabbing your foot. However, this means you have to put more effort into leveling out. Speaking of, leveling out is pretty much done by the front foot, mildly controlled by the back. At the peak of my jump, in the peak of my ollie, my front foot starts to push in front of me just enough that I can use my back foot to catch on the tail. This thing is not going to be natural. In fact, you're probably going to feel like you need to do this. Nope. Immediately what you want to do as soon as you snap this and you're on your way up, as soon as you're on your way up, you're literally rolling at the same time. If I was to be able to ollie from here, you can see that. Like, it immediately goes sideways to the side of my foot. Just as an example, that's where it's hitting on my shoe. You can see the hole. The idea is to keep it centered and balanced so that you're not having the board tip over. Put my foot down. So you're not having the board tip over and that kind of thing. Simultaneously, as you're jumping, as you're going up, this thing is already on its way up and catching the nose as fast as it can. And what is it doing when it hits the nose? Continuing to pull up until you run out of upward movement. See if I can make that make sense. You need to pop, pull it up, and then keep pulling until you feel like you've hit the top. Once you've hit that top, that's when you push it this way. Side of the foot catches to here, side of the foot all the way to the nose. And then you level out, and then your foot goes flat. Now what's going on back here? You gotta wonder, well, your back foot has popped, it's leveling up with this. Well, hopefully the board's coming too. Your front foot is doing its job. It's pulling this and it's leveling out. Your front foot can hang on now. You can level it out and keep it flat. You can keep going ninja if you want to push it in front of you. That's like stage 3 ollie. But the point being, that's the time to get ready to land. Alright, all you gotta do is get ready to absorb it with your knees. So just like we were talking about before with their center of gravity, when you're in the air, you got it tweaked out. If it's under you, you want to keep it under you over the bolts. You want to keep your chest square, right over the middle. Not too back, not too forward. Not too that way, not too that way. Those are variables you'd have to mess with probably. Bend your knees as much as you can. So you might be wondering, what do you do if the board's way in front of you? Like you boned it out super good, or you tweaked it out super far, like this over-exaggerated example here. This is definitely more of an Ollie North situation than a ninja kick situation, but the same rule applies. And what I'm getting at is watch the back foot. Just like when you were ollieing and going up onto the side of your foot, when you're on your way down, you can also go on the side of your foot, and you can use that to pull the board back underneath you. You can use that as a cheater way to get over stuff too. Once you've got that to here, you can literally push the back end up and over whatever you're doing using the front foot into the back as a guide. Stage 3 of the ollie. And that's when we go from a straight pop and a level out to a pop and a level out and a push forward. Some people call that the ninja kick. That is something you should start going for when you feel good doing the straight pop up, catching and keeping your feet flat the whole time. Once that feels comfy and you've got the most pop you can get out of that, then you can start having the hang time that you will have and tweaking that thing in front of you. Instead of pulling your back knee more or less straight up like we have been doing, try to pull both your legs almost sideways. You eventually want your back knee pointing behind you and your front leg extended like a ninja kick, literally. The idea being to get the sides of your shoes as flat to the board as possible. And the flatter you can get, the board can also go higher as well. Vis-a-vis, better ollies. I don't know if you want to pick your favorite Power Ranger, look up Bruce Lee, but look up a jump kick and watch how they fold their feet underneath themselves and in front of them. It's literally the same thing. Just with, an ollie while all that's happening. So, important things to remember. Balance is key. Being comfortable on your board first is key. Knowing how to fall down is key. You've got your foot set up exactly where you want it. If it's not feeling good, get ready to try something a little different. Maybe you need to put your weight further this way. Maybe you need to put your weight further this way, or this way, or this way. Whatever you need to do to find the right spot. I'm trying to say, get used to sweeping through the parameters. Get used to checking to see what else could make sense for you, because everyone's skate's a little different. And you might actually find that your center, what you started with, is actually off, and you gotta just move it a little bit and then it'll make sense. I recommend trying to learn when you're rolling as much as you need to practice standing still. In fact, once you've figured out the concept standing still, I would immediately move into rolling at whatever speed you're comfortable doing at, so that you understand and get used to the momentum helping you out and the inertia, because you'll find that the ollie feels different. The point I should repeat that every other ollie video repeats is you need to do as many ollies as you can. 100% agree with. The more ollies you do, the more muscle memory, often quoted, you will develop in the whole mechanics and the timing of it. Further to that, take the time to look at what you're doing while you're doing it. Or even better, if you have a phone and can record it, do that so that you can focus on the ollie and then look at it after and see what you're doing. The idea being that you can look at what you're doing and make adjustments as you're going. Oh, I've got one more note. Trying to ollie over something is inevitably easier to get the board up in the air than just trying to ollie as high as you can without anything here. For whatever reason, your brain knows exactly how high it has to go, and you can ollie a lot higher than you think when you're trying to go over something physical versus just trying to ollie. Further to that, as soon as you get comfortable rolling your ollie and doing it whenever you want, learning how to time your ollie is going to help you being able to pop it really well. And I mean that in the sense that when you're rolling towards your obstacle, knowing when you need to pop, say this crack here, imagine this is a two-snare. Knowing that you need to pop here and having yourself ready to crouch in time to get here is what's going to help you be able to get down there without any problems. Because you don't want to get crouched too early and spend all your time getting ready and then all of a sudden you got no energy. Or set up too late and just roll off. Make sense? Practicing the timing is what's going to make the difference between able to ollie over something and just ollieing in general. If you've got any questions about your ollies, put them in the comments and I'll try to make a follow-up video on how we can figure out what's going wrong and make it right. And any of you guys out there that know a suggestion that I missed or have a bonus tip, throw it in the comments. I'd like to see if you guys have any other suggestions. Maybe I missed something important. Well, I think that's about it. Don't be afraid to make adjustments. Go get energized. Now go skate, practice those ollies. Well, I really hope this video helps all of you out in your quest for the better ollie, no matter your skill level. And I look forward to seeing your comments and questions down below. Don't forget to throw the video a like if you found it helpful. Or if you just, like it. That's cool too. Anyways, have a good week. See you guys later.